If you haven't seen already, today Slowclap completely removed two mechanics from Rematch. In their words, these unintended mechanics cause more harm than good, and we think they should be removed from the game. But how harmful were they really? And was this actually the right call? The first mechanic, known as the outfield dive or the dolphin dive, let players spam the header button while sprinting to gain a slight speed advantage over normal sprinting opponents. The second, wall dribbling or wall climbing, which allowed players to spam lobs against the backboard to essentially just float up over the helpless defenders, giving them an uncontested shot with no counterplay other than tickling the attacker's feet. I actually showcased that mechanic in detail in one of my previous videos, so I'll pop the link here if you're interested and want to watch that. Now, to be fair, Slowclap didn't intend to create these mechanics, but the real question is, were they damaging the game, or were they pushing it in an exciting direction? Now, don't get me wrong, flying across the map probably is a bit too far for a game like Rematch, and I don't think wall climbing belongs in the meta. But what worries me is if this could become a pattern. If removing one mechanic, then another, and before long that raw edge, that spark that makes Rematch feel alive, starts to fade. The thing is, not all unintended mechanics are bad. Some of them are what elevate a game from good to revolutionary. Look at Rocket League, for example. The core of pro level gameplay is almost solely made up of what could have been described as game-breaking exploits, but instead were embraced and elevated the skill ceiling higher than anyone could have possibly imagined. But I don't think we are comparing apples to apples here, because of one of the three features I believe a core mechanic needs to be healthy and balanced in a competitive game, it doesn't have, and that's counterplay. Counterplay. It should be beatable by a better player. You should be able to stop someone that's worse than you from cheesing one little trick just to score every time. Execution. There should be real input skill, not just button mashing. And time to master. If a mechanic is powerful and hard to defend against, it should be hard to master as well, and should require more hours relative to its strength. If you can press one button and score an unsavable goal, yeah, that's broken. But if it takes hours to learn, needs perfect timing, and can only be done by hitting a very small window perfectly in a high stress situation, I don't think that's broken. I think that's a showcase of skill. That's what creates a skill ceiling. That's what gives players something to aspire to, something to grind for. It allows them to spend time learning a skill and then feel proud once they've finally overcome the mountain that was learning it. So let's talk about the two mechanics that were removed and why or why not they should have been removed. First, the dolphin dive. It was spamming the header button to gain a speed advantage. Was there counterplay? Yes, both you and your opponent could do it at the same time. Was it difficult to do? Not really. You could just watch a TikTok, 5 minutes in free play, and you've basically got that one down. Can you see the problem with that? So we've got an easy to learn mechanic that everyone can do. It makes sense to do it. Why would you not? It makes you go faster. At the end of the day, everyone's just going to be flopping around the field like a fish, trying to be as quick as possible, which I agree with. I don't think it should be in the game. Second, the wall climbing. Spamming lobs at the wall to begin floating above helpless defenders. Is that something that should be in the game? Was there counterplay? Not really. The shot was almost completely uncontested once you're in the air, and the only defense you really had was a last second jump on the goal line trying to stop it from going in your top shelf. Was it difficult to do? More so than the dolphin dive, but there was some skill involved with the timing and placement of your camera to get it started. But once you had that down, it was so easy to cheese and just spam it in every game and just have uncontested shots. And did it take a long time to learn? Longer than the dolphin dive again, but don't get me wrong, I learnt it in a day for my viral TikToks video, and my matches were already beginning to fill with players using it against me as well, so I don't think it took long enough to learn for how game breaking it was. So both these mechanics definitely do not satisfy the requirements for a healthy mechanic in a competitive game, but does this mean more mechanics need to go? Rematch has so many new mechanics, the game is so new, but people are creating mechanics left and right. You've got the blade shot, the golden boost, even the Ippy slide. Where do we draw the line? Should we remove anything that can't be done in a real game of football? I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Traditional football is a marathon. It's 90 minutes of positioning, discipline, and careful play. Almost like a game of chess trying to outsmart your opponent in a team setting. But rematch? It's a sprint. It's 6 minutes to go crazy, pull off the most impossible, magical mechanics, and just show your flair on the field. It rides along the border of impossible, and that's exciting. And that's the appeal of rematch for a lot of players. Don't get me wrong, I think Slow Clap understands this feeling, and they noted in the patch notes this. We admire the way players have come up with new emergent mechanics and advanced techs, some of which add a healthy amount of depth to the game. So I don't think they're in a rush to remove every tech in the game. I don't think they're trying to get rid of all the hard work you guys have put in creating these mechanics and the ones that are yet to be created. At least I hope that's the case. What I am really interested in though is, what do you want Rematch to look like? Do you want it to feel like playing a game of football on the schoolyard with a bunch of mates? Or would you rather feel like one of the characters from Blue Lock, doing things that are impossible in real life?